Well, if you've watched this channel any length of time at all, you'll realize that we've got a couple different manufacturers that we're really fond of in the saddle hunting industry. Obviously, one of them is TX5. Near and dear to our heart, it's been our go-to saddle for the last several years. We tested a lot of different products, but we always seem to find ourselves back in a TX5 saddle. One of the saddles that we did a lot of testing of and hunting out of last year was Trophyline. And Trophyline makes some solid stuff. You've heard me really love their platforms, their little mini sticks. And both these companies are ran by outstanding owners, just really solid individuals. You know, TX5 is a great company. Trophyline is a fantastic company. Sometimes you're like, man, what? Well, wouldn't it be cool if we could just like get those companies together to make something? That's impossible. Or is it? What if you could get those two guys, those two companies together to do a collab on a really cool special project? That'd be freaking awesome, wouldn't it? Well, that awesomeness turned out the Trophyline Venatic, a joint venture by TX5 and Trophyline, putting their heads together, bouncing ideas off each other, putting a twist here, a turn there, and eventually they came out with the new Venatic saddle. We're going to go over it in detail today, right after this. Well, hey guys, back here in the archery room with the Trophyline Venatic. Really cool collab project by a couple awesome companies. You know, I get to, I'm kind of very blessed in the fact that, you know, as a feature magazine writer, monthly columnist for different websites and things that I've written for in the past, now with the YouTube channel, I've got to work with a lot of the people behind the scenes in the saddle industry, a lot. And there are none finer than Sean Ferguson and Matthew Tompkins. You put those two together, you know, you're bound to create some awesomeness, right? And the Venatic pretty much fits that bill. If you're wondering where the name Venatic comes from, it's Latin meaning of or pertaining to the hunt. Pretty cool name, and you know what's really neat about it is a lot of people are going to mishear that name and think you're talking about or saying fanatic, which there's nothing wrong with that because you know it is it's a fanatical project, and we as saddle hunters as a community are pretty fanatical about the gear that we use, and so it's a cool play on words, kind of a little twist there. But you know, another thing that's really cool about this is that little tag right there, and I'll walk it up here to the camera so that you can see it. Made in the U.S. When Matthew and Sean got together and talking about what they wanted to work on as a joint project, one of the things that came about was it's got to be made in the U.S. And they did actually found a really cool company that does a lot of military work down in Florida to make this for them. We'll get into that here in a little bit with the materials they use and things like that as we go through it. But want to point that out because that affects some other things we're going to talk about here at the end of this as well. Just a neat project, but let's go through it. I actually made myself a cheat list here, as I do sometimes, to keep myself on track, because I don't want to belabor this video. I want it to be a fairly short video. I just want to go over some of the features and benefits. So if you've got questions about this, you can kind of look and see from someone who's handled it real world, put some seat time in it, on a tree, in the woods, and give you my thoughts and opinions on it really quickly. So, talked about being made in the USA. I got a list of about 8 or 9 different features I'm going to cover really quickly. One is, as any Trophyline saddle does, it comes with an openable bridge. They actually send this out with a black diamond carabiner, and it's on a 3/8 inch rope with a prusik. And you guys know that I typically, as I walk in and out of the woods, I got that little twisted there. As I walk in and out of the woods, I will unclip from one side of the bridge and reclip to the side that the bridge is attached to on the same bridge loop. That's the way I walk in and out of a lot of the times. The way that they designed this, a cool little feature and benefit here, is on the waist belt. If you're wearing it around your waist, it actually, you'll see a little rubber keeper, and I've got it twisted here in the, there we go. You'll see a rubber keeper here that you can actually take your tag in. If you just want to draw it straight across your waist, snug up your bridge across your waist, and then your tag in, and instead of letting it dangle, you can actually tuck it into this little rubber keeper. Really cool little function there, and a great way to wear your saddle in and out, keep it out of the way, keep it from getting caught and snagged in stuff. Speaking of that, getting caught and snagged and stuff. You know, a lot of the big trend in the saddle hunting industry has been to make really stiff lineman belt loops, right? And make them so super easy to find because they're sticking way out, and that's one of my favorite features I love about great, sturdy, quality lineman belt loops. I've actually got a really good friend of mine. We disagree on that point. He goes, man, we're just going to have to agree to disagree. I don't like lineman belts, loops that stick way out like that. Well, he would probably love this one because these are fold-back lineman belt loops. So if you're walking in and you're rubbing and you catch on something, they just fall right back out of the way. They're still stiff enough to catch. I had no problem finding them as I was climbing trees, looking and attaching my bridge and attaching my lineman belt loop and things like that. Because they're both, you know, they both fold back really easily, but the lineman belt loops especially are actually called fold back loops. So that's something there. What else? Oh, the whole waist belt is in a floating pocket, is allowed to float via this rubberized pocket here. And the reason why it's rubberized, if you guys have ever heard people talk about, man, I can't get my saddle to stay up. What are you guys using for suspenders? Well, this is, I think, my 23rd, it's either my 22nd or 23rd saddle that I've put some time in and played with and really kind of got a feel for. And out of all those saddles, I've never had one fall down on me. And one of the reasons why is I buckle my saddle buckle above my pants buckle, and I walk in and out of the woods with it that way. Then when I get to my tree, sometimes I will undo it, put my buckle below my pants buckle, and it's a lot more comfortable to sit that way. Okay, but Trophyline is going a little above and beyond here to help you combat that issue. If you're one of those ones who a guy or a girl who has a problem with the saddle staying up on the walk-in, they put a little bit of tack, not a ton, just a little bit of rubberized texture feel here, and it's almost imperceptible, but you can definitely feel it, and it's definitely going to do its work to try to help this saddle from slipping if that's something that concerns you at all. So kind of a cool feature there. So you've got a rubberized pocket that the waist belt will float in and out of. And if you're wondering, why do I need a floating belt on my saddle? Well, if you have to adjust your buckle in a whole bunch on one side, if you don't adjust them properly, you'll off center that buckle, and sometimes maybe if you're leaning down to shoot one way or another, it's more comfortable to have that buckle centered right where we're normally used to as humans. We're used to having that buckle centered on our body. So this makes it really super nice just to adjust the saddle, just twist it around however you need to without having to readjust both sides of a waist belt. Just makes it super, super nice to do that. So that's the whole purpose of a floating buckle. We also have a saddle compression hook here that was added. It's basically a little tab that's sewn on. We've got a row of tight molly up top for accessory pouches, dump pouches. There's some rubberized hooks that are really nice. You can tell it's very, very tough. It's actually part of the lineman belt loop. But you can take this saddle compression hook or this tab, and you can actually stick it in. It's really easy to do from behind. You don't even have to see it. It's easy to do by feel. Stick it into one of that loops, and what it does is if you loosen up your leg straps, you can easily pull that saddle up, and it makes it really nice, gets it out of the way for walking in and out, and then it's really super easy just to reach back here and let it go. Deploy the saddle to its full width there, and then you've got the full comfort of the saddle. But if that's something, if you want to get that saddle up and out of your way for walking in and out, I've just always worn my saddle in and out, and there's times I will go easily a mile and a half, sometimes almost 2 miles of walk in and out of the woods where we hunt. I don't always do that. Sometimes I'm hunting 100 yards from the truck, okay? But regardless, irrespective of the distance, I've just always worn my saddle in and out. That's just the way I've always done it. Some guys don't like the bulk of a saddle while they're walking in and out. Well, this is a way that you can kind of compromise, and you can wear your saddle in, but get the bulk of it out of the way via the saddle compression hook, that little extra tab there that collapses this almost in half before it's deployed out that way. So that's a cool little feature if it's something that interests you on there. It's extremely comfortable, guys. I mean, you can imagine anything Matthew Tompkins has his hands in. I've been a big fan of his designs with TX5 for a long time. and you know, with Matthew and Sean collaborating on this project and bouncing ideas off of each other, with both of them, you know, my Trophyline saddle, my Prime, that leather saddle, yeah, a lot of guys will go, gosh, it's, you know, it may not be the best saddle for Georgia or Alabama or Louisiana. I don't know. I don't hunt in those states. I tell you that when we start hunting in September 15th in Missouri, a lot of times we are hunting in the 90-degree weather. Now, will I hunt in my Prime during that time? Probably not. I'm fortunate enough I've got a lot of saddles. But I would definitely hunt in this. But the point of that whole story is both those guys, both Sean and Matthew, know a thing or two about comfortable saddles. Because my Prime, irrespective of the material, is probably one of the most comfortable saddles I've ever sat in. So you combine both of these guys' knowledge, this saddle is really super comfortable. It's almost like you don't even hardly feel like you've got anything on with this saddle. It just caresses you more so than a typical. You're not feeling straps everywhere. It's not heavy. It's a very comfortable saddle. It is the lightest saddle by far. This saddle I weigh it here, where, you know, behind me, where I weigh everything that I ever do a review or a video on or a reveal on, anything like that. That this saddle weighs 1.94 pounds, and that's with everything you see here. That's with the bridge, that's with the black diamond carabiner, that's with the heavy-duty ADF Raptor buckles, and that is something that we'll spend a little time talking about, because I love buckles. I love being able to unbuckle my leg straps. I love being able to buckle everything up, because it's the same thing as the openable bridge. I want to be able to put it on and take it off without stepping through anything, and these leg buckles and the openable bridge make it easy to do that. Also, these ADF Raptor buckles, just like the saddle, they're made in America. They're made in the United States. That's pretty cool. Now, how does that compare to other offerings, especially since we're talking about TX5 and Trophyline? How does it compare to those? Well, the Covert Light is 2.84 pounds. So we have this at 1.94, almost a full pound lighter than the Covert Light, which ostensibly was their lightest saddle before with the Covert Light. Now this one blows it away at 1.94. The Trophyline Prime, the leather one I talked about, 3.04. So definitely a full pound lighter than that one. My TX5 Fabric Lone Star that you saw me with out on the deck earlier is 2.08. My Mesh Lone Star, I did not show it there, still have it. My son will be hunting out of it in college this year. It as well is 2.08, so both of them are 2.08 pounds. My Raider is 1.92 pounds that was made for me by TX5. So it's the only one that comes in a little bit lighter than the Venatic, but only by 2/100ths of an ounce. And it's probably beating it just because of the ADF Raptor buckles. And that's because the Raider has G-hooks. My preference, I love, when I got this, I was like, man, this would be like the perfect saddle for me if it had the Cobra buckles and the mini Cobra Sport buckles for the leg buckles. And I understand a little bit of the reason why, because the Cobra buckles are Austrian. These are American. They're keeping everything made in America here. Also, I did talk to the guys a little bit later, and they're like, yeah, we might look at that later down the road. Supply and demand, as you guys know, supply issues in the United States are just tremendous here. They're putting a kibosh on a lot of things, and so they were able to get enough of the quantity they needed for the ADF Raptor buckles, and that's a huge thing. If you can't build it if you can't get it. So I know I would love to maybe see the saddle eventually. That'd be my wish list. I'd like to see it made with the Cobra Sport buckles in the future at some point. But it does go with all American made. That's a big point in this saddle. Also, you know, let's be honest with you, when you get something made in America, everything in America, especially with ADF Raptor buckles, these things are not cheap. If you want to do your own research and go look on Amazon, price out 2 little ADF Raptor buckles for your leg buckles and 1 big one here for your waist. And because, you know, it's all, you know, TMA certified, approved, all that. If you want to price those out, you'll see how expensive those buckles are, and getting it made in America is going to come with a little bit of a premium price. It's not made in China, right? And so this saddle, it hits the market at $299.99, but with all the features, the bells and whistles, it's made out of this nylon ripstop This is the same material, guys, that they make the wingsuits. If you ever go on YouTube and watch the Red Bull guys or whoever it is fly through the mountains, and they're going through hundreds of miles an hour, it seems like, just ripping through the woods and through those canyons. This is the exact same material that wingsuits are made out of, so it's going to hold up really, really well. Like I said, the manufacturer, the sewer of this, has a lot of experience sewing for the military. It's a very solid, the material, the construction, the quality, the attention to detail is all there. So I have no problem after holding this, seeing it, putting it through its paces. I see why it's a $299.99 saddle. It's going to scare a few people away, but it's made in America. You kind of got to pick your poison. Do you want China made and China prices, or do you want America made and American prices? Sometimes that you got to choose one or the other. So, oh yeah, right now it is only offered in medium on the website, which fits a 28 to a 38 inch waist. So the large and the XL is coming very soon, and that will fit from a 39 to a 44 plus, but at least a 39 to a 44 inch waist. So the Trophyline Venatic, guys, really cool saddle. Hopefully that helps you think through some of the things. If you haven't seen the details, you're wondering, how does that work? Why did they do this? Why is it the price it is? Hopefully that'll help answer some of the questions. If you got any comments, got any questions, hit me up in the details in the comments section here below, and we'll see you on the next one down the road.